Oh, it's Friday, everybody. Welcome to Women's Leadership Forum Live. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's dreary outside. The snow is like, the snow is, it's not looking pretty out there like it did when the snow first hit, and it's supposed to rain. You still got to wear a mask. You're still socially distant, but there's a lot of people out here feeling the blues, but not here at the Women's Leadership Forum. We're going to pump this up. We are going to get this going. We're going to have a good talk tonight. I'm first going to tell you about what is happening within the Women's Leadership Forum. I am so psyched. I am so pumped up because we have a number of tickets left. There's still a few tickets left. And I know that you people are out there just waiting, saying, it's virtual. I can still get in. I said, well, let me just tell you, there are only a few tickets left. And when I say few, I'm saying 4 for the VIP event. You will see on social media now people posting the swag that they are receiving from registering early. They are getting swag now from the Women's Leadership Forum for their VIP status. What does that mean? Does it mean that the all access people won't get swag? Yeah, you're going to get swag. You're going to get swag. You get swag. You get swag. Everybody is going to get swag. Okay. But let me just tell you, I'm running low on that VIP swag. 4 tickets left. 4 tickets left. So I would suggest that if you want to be a part of us, register. Okay. So what are you registering for? I'm glad I asked myself. You're registering for the Women's Leadership Forum. It's a 3-day event. It's a virtual event. It's an event where women gather. They have an exchange of ideas. They have an exchange of information. They find resources just in each other. Now, we had the in-person event just before COVID hit last year. We had 500, can you imagine 500 women gathering in one place, feeding off of that energy source, right? Getting ideas, getting resources so that they can go out there and feel their duties and their purpose and their meaning. And some of them who didn't know what that was, they came there trying to figure it out. They connected with someone who could help them move their agendas forward. Even if they didn't know what the agenda was, they got a chance to figure some of that out, right? Now, we were only there for a few hours. So can you imagine 3 days of us? Now, some of you are going like, oh my God, 3 days of women being all together. But you are virtual. You're in your home. And we are still going to have that opportunity to share ideas, to share resources, to be able to chat with one another. Now, we might not be able to touch, I can't get this right. Yeah, touch one another, right? But we can still feel the energy. We're still going to feel the energy because we're on a platform. We went all out. We wanted to have at least the feeling that you were present. So we're going to utilize the chat. We're going to utilize breakout sessions. We're going to utilize, have you ever heard of a doodler? We have a doodler. For those of you who don't know what a doodler is, they translate what's being said, by a speaker. They create a visual graphic, if you will, that capsulizes all of what's being said. Because all of us don't receive information the same. So we pull out, if there's such thing as pulling out the virtual red carpet, we did it. Voila, voila. We're pulling out that carpet for all of you all because we want you all to we value what it is that we're doing. And we think it is good enough that you should value it too. So we're inviting you. We're valuable people. We're inviting you all to come to the table, share all the information that you have up there. We're asking you to impart that information and share it with us so that we can be uplifted too. Now, last Wednesday, Hump Day, we had Sheila Murphy here. And boy, oh boy, if you're wondering where I got my energy from, it's from Sheila. I'm still floating off all of that energy band with that Sheila left me with, right? She's an encourager, and she is worth the ticket alone. To hear her speak, to hear her just tell you that you are worthy, that you are valued, that you alone in your presence can be an encouragement to someone else, is worth that $50 ticket. Because again, that's just about all that's left. So I'm asking you to seek us out on our website, forwardwlf.org, or you can find us through our hashtag forwardwlf. Now, what happens in those 3 days? In those 3 days, you'll find our keynote speaker, April Ryan, who is a White House news correspondent and bureau chief of the GRIO. You'll find, again, Sheila Murphy, who will not only razzle dazzle you, but she has a new book out and she's going to talk about that book, right? And I read it in 2 days because it was so intriguing and so relatable. Yeah, that's the word I want. So relatable. And then we have a panel discussion of women. And then we have 13 workshops that you can pick and choose from. So you won't have to just sit in front of the computer. You have that opportunity to hop in and hop out of classes, if you will. If one doesn't suit you, okay, then you go to another one. If you don't like the finance information that you're receiving, go to the communications class, okay? Learn something. We're here, we're presenting to you choices. Now, on day 2, we're going to talk about writing. That book, that blog, that article that you've been wanting to write, we're going to try to give you a method for getting that out of your head and onto paper. Students, we haven't left you out. Internships, scholarship, apprenticeships. Oh my, we're bringing all of that to the table. So if you're trying to figure out what to do next, this is an opportunity to talk to the people. And, you know, I was talking to a couple of people today, and what they were saying about this particular event is that the young people are looking for people to talk to them authentically. None of that, oh, you can do it if you just try. Take the next step. You gotta be here. You gotta stay in the job for 1,000,001 years and collect your pension. That ain't happening no more. We have to tell you what the real deal is, and this is the place to be. We're asking you to ask what's on your mind, and there's not going to be a penalty for ask. If you don't know what to do next, okay, other than the filling out the form, because I don't like filling out the form, so I don't want to talk about that. What we're going to talk about is how you can get to that next level. What does it take? And we want you to ask us those questions that are not only real for us, but real to you, that's going to take you to the next level. So after you figure out what internship, how I'm going to get my scholarship, or do I want to do an apprenticeship, we have career coaches on standby that can talk to you about what you want to do in life. That's not just for the student. So the people that are still, some people are still in their 50s trying to figure out what to do next. It's okay. The coaches are on standby. They want to talk to you. And if you bought that upscale ticket, then you come and party with us. Because the happy hour is, as the folks say, it's going to be on and popping. That's what they say, on and popping. Now, I probably just embarrassed my son by saying that, but I mean it. Okay, we have a chef, we have a mixologist, we have shopping, we have sponsors who want to talk to you. And you can hop in and out of any of those rooms and relax, and you can have the beverage of your choice. Okay, you're in your home, you can have the beverage of your choice and still join us. And so we invite you to be a part of that happy hour. And then we want you to get up at 9:30 in the morning and join us once again, because we have the Small Business Roundtable that's being hosted by M&T Bank. M&T Bank is hosting our Small Business Roundtable. So we want you to join us. We're all about jobs and helping you to move it forward. That's our mantra. That's our tagline. And we're asking you and we're inviting you. We're inviting you to be at that table. And ladies, let me tell you, if you are unable to attend due to finances, we have scholarship. And so in that, we're not going to give you an excuse, right? We're not going to give you, we're 3 days. So take a choice. You either come in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but we invite you to come all 3 days. Your $50 gets you in all 3 days. So we are the hype people. We are hyped, and we want you to be hyped with us because we feed off of your energy. That's the Women's Leadership Forum, March 18, 19, and 20. Now, today's Women's Leadership Forum Live. You're wondering who my guest is? Let me get that right. Nope. 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 Over there. No. Okay. The lady laughing at me because I can't get it right, right? You're wondering who she is. Okay. She's a professor of communications at Stevenson University, but she also owns a company called Dialogues
by Design Consulting.
Yeah, by Design Consultancy, right? And guess what? We're going to dialogue tonight. We're going to dialogue tonight. We were, she asked me what were we going to talk about. Now, at the time, I didn't know. I had no clue what were we going to talk about, because today is Family and Friends Day, and I didn't know exactly what we would talk about, but we've been talking about our decision making during this period. And it's become harder. And I don't know whether it's like the cloud of COVID, right? It's so cloudy that I didn't even tell you all who my guest was, right? My guest is Dr. Heather Harris. It's Dr. Heather Harris. Okay. And I'm glad she's laughing, because I'm going like, why didn't I say Dr. Heather Harris? But I'm glad to have Dr. Heather Harris, because I call Dr. Heather Harris not only a brilliant person, but I'm glad that she's my friend and that she can laugh at me not introducing her, right? But I'm going back to where we were, is that, it has, in all seriousness, COVID kind of, we wear a mask over our face, but also COVID actually has put a mask sometimes on our thinking and our decision making, and how we make decisions or come to a conclusion. All of this, it's put a damper on it. I talked about the weather today, and despite what you see here today, there is a little bit of fog going on here. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you the truth. There is some fog going on in this brain of mine. And I don't know about our audience, but, have you ever experienced, I just got finished telling Dr. Harris, my little card here. Yeah. I knew I used it for Chick-fil-A yesterday. Shout out to Chick-fil-A. I used I used my card for Chick-fil-A, got the nice little sandwich. The young man said, my pleasure. I felt all high, and then what did I do with my card? I couldn't find it. Where's the card? Where's the card? Where's the card? The card was right here at my desk all the time. I'm calling it COVID fog. COVID fog. Typically, I put it in my purse, keep rolling. You try to come up with what you're supposed to do for the day. I told Dr. Harris, I use a checklist. I have to use a checklist. Maybe it's my age, the combination of my age, but I have to use a checklist. Otherwise, I'll forget. Now, some of the decision making has to do with your heart. It has to do with your head. It has to do with your gut feeling, your gut reaction. And Dr. Harris was telling me, oh, it's a combination of all of that. So I welcome Dr. Harris.
Thank you.
Heather Harris, my friend.
Heather is good.
Heather is good. So I'm going to go with that throughout the whole thing.
Yes, please. You're hurting my ears.
Okay.
Yeah,
calm down.
I'm laughing. No, not about that. I'm talking about doctor all the time. I'm laughing at you because I know you couldn't find your card because you were too busy with the fries, right? Because we were talking at the time and you said, I'm going right for the fries. I'm going right for the fries.
Yeah. Oh, they never made it home, by the way, but okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah,
your heart, your head, your gut, you know, you said something to me yesterday about their interaction. Right?
Yeah.
And maybe share with us what your theory or the theory that's out there about their interaction and how we do make decisions.
Yeah, well, I can't speak to the theory. I'm just talking about my personal experiences, right?
Let's go with that then.
Yeah, but when I think about the gut, when I think about intuition, I think of that as being the voice of the heart. And I remember we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't seeing the heart, or was it you that said you weren't seeing the heart as just in that physical space, but actually permeating everything, right? And so if the heart is permeating everything, that little voice, that whisper, that divine center, whatever you want to call it, to intuition, spidey sense. I used to love to watch Spider-Man as a kid. So I talk about the spidey sense. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I think it's the heart speaking. And I think that, well, I know that when I listen to it, what I do next tends to be a step in the right direction, a step forward, as you would say, with regard to the conference. When I do not listen because I question my inner voice, I question what my inner voice is saying, and I heed more attention to what is happening externally, what people are telling me externally, what I'm hearing externally, what I'm watching externally, and that can muddy the waters. And usually it will take me to a space of fear, right, rather than fearlessness. And so I default now, as much as possible, I take my own advice, which is the divine advice or the spidey sense advice, rather than choosing to let the noise come in from the outside and confuse me.
So okay. When do you incorporate the advice of others? You know, because that can be confusing. You're dating, okay? So you're dating, and so no, don't date him. You shouldn't date him because of this. You should date, and I'm using dating just to be funny, but when do you listen, or when does that get incorporated?
No, that's a really important question. I think that when I get the intuition, when I get that feeling, if it aligns with what I'm hearing externally, that's a good sign.
Okay.
If they're contradictory messages, I'm going to go with my gut. Right? I'll go with my gut.
And so a lot of people A
Because
lot of people just
just for the
stare.
boyfriend example, like you were saying, sorry, for the boyfriend example,
Yeah.
I've been in that situation.
If we've all dated more than one person, I
Yes,
think that we've
yes,
all been in that,
yes.
we've been in that situation,
And so
right?
you hear the outside voices, and you hear when sometimes your inner voice agrees with the outside voice, but you
Mm-hmm.
override that and believe that you can maybe change that person or change the situation a little bit, right? So it's not that the intuition is failing, because the intuition will for me, it'll line up with the external voices. When I override it, that becomes the problem.
Okay, so you're not talking about like real voices, right? Like, I,
Oh, no, 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 no. Are those the ones you hear?
I don't know, I'm saying it 'cause some people, so like, how, um, so in all sincerity,
Mhm.
some people say, I don't hear anything.
Right. You might
What
not
are you
hear
talking
anything. People will tap into their intuition, to their gut, to their divinity, divine center, in different ways, right?
about?
For me, it is it's a whisper.
Mhm,
It's a whisper. Sometimes it's a flutter in terms of a feeling, right? But more often than not, it's a whisper. Like I can hear it in my head, you know, do this or do that. And I listen. So for everyone, it's going to be different. I don't think we should be looking for the same experiences across the board. This is not a generalization.
yeah, yeah. But
Mhm.
okay, so let me ask you this about risk taking.
Mm.
I wanna connect the 2
You're asking the wrong
because
person.
what?
You're asking the wrong person about risk taking. I am not an early adopter for anything.
Oh, yeah, I would disagree with you. I'm gonna disagree with you because you, you could have sat back on your laurels and not taken the risk to get a degree.
Mhm,
You could be a homeowner,
mhm,
right? Um, a driver.
mhm,
We
mhm.
all take risk in that. Okay, a driver.
Every
And
day,
so
every day. Yeah.
at some point, we all step out there to do something that we've not done before.
Mhm, mhm.
And what um, I don't like riding a roller coaster.
Right. Nor do
Right?
I.
I do not like riding. I don't like that feeling. Um, my gut sense says no. But the little girl next to me who wants to get on there,
Let's
the real
go.
little girl,
Let's go. Let's go.
let's go, we gotta do this. And this
Uh-huh.
is like, okay, I like the teacup. Why can't
Mm,
we do the teacup? And she, no, we want to go up. Okay. So you end up taking that risk and that feeling
mm,
because of someone, or you end up taking that because you know that it's going to you feel it might take you to the next level. It's a gut check or
mm.
a sort of heart check because literally for me, I start talking to myself like, why do I want to go on that roller coaster? Okay, but
Right,
and then
right.
I go.
Mhm.
And some people call the leap of faith. Yeah, it's a leap of faith for me to get on that roller coaster and make sure I come back down in one piece. So, um, the gut, the heart, and all of that plays a role. I think in your risk taking.
Yes, certainly, certainly. And I think if you go up and down that roller coaster enough times without checking in, hopefully you do learn the lesson about not going up there, right? I used to love roller coasters. I
Oh,
Batman, Superman, whatever, I just loved roller coasters. And then something happened.
hmm.
I watched a couple of news stories, and I just
Oh,
stopped going on.
yeah,
I that's a risk I wasn't willing to take again. And they're probably pretty safe. I mean, no one's going to have an amusement park and not have safe roller coasters.
yeah, yeah.
Everything has a risk to it. But I think that when I make a decision, I usually take a pretty long time to do it. I'm
Mhm.
not the kind, when I make a decision, like if someone says, "Oh, let's do this," and I do it off the cuff, mm, it doesn't necessarily go well. So I tend to be one that will prepare over time, do some research, get some feelers out, ask questions before I actually do something. So when I'm taking a risk, I like to think it's an informed risk. Of course, that's me. That's my fantasy.
Right.
That's my fantasy. That's an informed risk. But I do my best to mitigate a lot of unforeseen challenges, and you really can't do that. That in itself is a fantasy. I remember thinking, as I got, as I grew up, as I was getting older and older, I would say to myself, "Oh, at one point, everything is just going to be right. Uh, finances, this, that, whatever it is that I, decide at a particular time." That
Mm,
is never going to happen. Life is like, like you're in an ocean or something, and the tide changes, depending on the, when the moon comes up,
right.
the waves change, the temperature changes, and you have to adapt. And so when that clicked for me, then things were not as dramatic, right? And I could take some more risk without feeling the need to do prep for days, sometimes weeks, like I used to do in the past.
What do you think stops you, or what is the wall?
It's fear. It's I'm not even gonna lie.
Is it is
I'm
is it
not
that
gonna lie.
the
It's
fear
the
of
fear.
what? That's what I'm at. The fear of
uh, failure is what people say, but I think it's deeper than that. I think I don't want to be shamed. I don't want to be embarrassed. Things that are going to happen anyway. You really can't even control those things. So,
I listen to you. I listen to you, and I'm saying, hey, do because I consider myself somewhat of a risk taker. I
you
think
are.
if there's like a medium, I think I'm like in between or something.
No, you're going over to the edge. You're going. you're,
Oh, okay, but let me just tell you, that's
you're not medium.
that's why we make good friends, because you want that other person to say, no,
Yeah,
you're about to go over the edge, so
right, right,
don't do
right.
that.
And you move
Don't do
me a
that
little further towards the edge, So
thing.
no, and it's not, and the edge is not a bad place. The edge is
No,
the next level, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
and you are at the edge of the next level most of the time.
Folks, I don't know what that says about me, but
No,
okay.
which I think is a really good thing, and it's a courageous thing. And I think, more of us, I speak for myself, I could be more courageous. I certainly could be more courageous,
And
I
but are you talking about the kind of courageous, like the courageous that I know you may say that there is only one courageous, but
mm,
um, the kind of courageous that Brene Brown like speaks of.
I can't
Because
remember how
I
she
think that you
defines
are
courage.
courageous. You're courageous in your dialogue. Like you are you
I can
rarely have
agree
I
with that.
not
I
heard
can
you.
agree with that. That I'm
Okay.
courageous in the dialogue.
Hmm.
I'm courageous in dialogue. I'm courageous in making connections. People will say to me, "Oh, she'll talk to a rock or a head of cabbage or whatever the case is." Yeah, I'm willing to talk to make connection, and vegetables have feelings too, right? But
Hmm.
not when they're in the
Poor
store,
cabbage.
not when they're in the store, but when
Cabbage
they're
gets a
still
bad
growing.
rap.
Indeed, indeed. That's a good
But
one.
that's important. Maybe
Yeah.
what you're saying is like I feel like you're a risk taker in certain in lanes.
And probably that's the case for most people, right? And maybe we do generalize it too much and say, "Oh, you're a risk taker or you're not." But there
Mm,
are areas where people will take risks, right? There are people who cook and will take risk with their cooking. I mean, you talked about Sheila, and Sheila will, I mean, she'll whip something up for you from anything that's around her, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so that is risk taking. And she's not even thinking about that as a risk. She's just saying, this is something I enjoy doing. For me,
Mhm.
when it comes to conversations, it's just something I love doing. I love connecting with people. I love finding out how we can have more uh, harmonious relationships with one another.
Mhm.
In doing that, you've got to be courageous to have certain kinds of conversations. So I will take that risk there. Now, if
Mm.
you tell me, oh, there's this new product and everyone has it, you need to get it. That's when I say, like, no, I'm just going to wait and see.
Okay, well, you sound like you're hinting around with something there.
No, no,
You're not talking
no,
about the vaccine, are you?
no, 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 no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, the
Okay.
vaccine. No. Oh my
Okay.
God.
We
How
weren't
did we
talking
get
about the
how did we
vaccine.
get to the COVID vaccine? I'm talking about food and cabbage.
Okay, okay, food and cabbage. Okay. So,
Mhm.
um, I I remember, and this is why I'm like I'm surprised about your risk taking. And going to use this as an example. The was it this the time is like crazy. I'm trying to figure out when it was. It was a summer.
Mhm,
Maybe it was a summer ago or fall when
mhm.
WOW came around, Women of the World. And you
Yeah,
said I wanted to
yeah.
do that. This is what I wanted to
Yes,
do. I want to
yes,
be
yes.
now. For those of you who don't know, WOW is a big stage in front of every lots of people. Lots of people. And you had an opportunity to do that. Okay.
I
Was
did.
that your gut, your heart, your head, everything stirred up together, the risk taking? It was something that
It was
just allowed
big.
you to just step out there.
Yeah, and at a very short notice. Again, though, that was about dialogues. That was about connecting with other women. That was about having those, challenging conversations. And I'm always up for that. Now, if
Mm,
you tell me that there is this new type of cell phone coming out and it's the rage and you need to get it, I'm not going to get it.
mm.
I'm not going to get
No,
it.
I'm not gonna get it either, but
But some people will
probably
get
because
it,
it was $1
you
million.
know?
But
Yeah,
yeah.
some people will get it. People like the novel. For me, it's, yeah, okay. It's a product. I'll wait and see. For me, it's all about the connection. It's
Mm-hmm.
all and people say, yeah, that is a risk because some people they don't even want to have a conversation, not because they're antisocial, but having conversations is not what they want to do. They might want to read, listen to podcasts, something else. This is where I'm happiest, having those conversations, helping people make that shift from, oh, I'm afraid of this person or I don't understand this person, to here's how we can learn about one another. Here's how
Yeah.
we can connect with one another. That I love. And especially when it comes to women, when you talk about the Forward Conference, one of the things that truly blew me away with this conference was the whole idea of this unconference. This whole unconference idea that you have, where you just come in there and you kind of create your conference on the spot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That I'd never come across before. That's why I say you're a risk taker. Someone would say, I have this idea for an unconference. And someone would say, hey, that's a crazy idea. And the person would say, yeah, you're probably right. But you said, oh, no. You say, no, no, no. I am going to do this. And you did it in spades. People raved about it. I had the time of my life at that conference. It was so uplifting, so connecting, so supportive. The sisterhood on steroids.
Sister, say, okay. SS. Um, Talk about just a little bit, and I'm shifting the conversation. I know this was like heart, head, gut,
Mhm.
but talk a little bit about your topic because you came up with the title, and that I'm saying topic. I'm really mean the workshop topic that you are going to lead at the
Right.
forum.
Right. Women of color, women coloring social justice, right?
Yeah.
And so it is women of color discussing social justice, how they define it, how it impacts them, right? Because often when we talk about these concepts, it's almost external to us. But
Mm.
social justice is something that is really intimate to all of us, whether we recognize it or not. We're all impacted by it, or we are impacting others by the way we perform social justice in our lives, in our communities, in our spaces. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing from these women. I have a woman of Arab descent, I have a Latinx woman, I have a Jamaican American woman, I have an African American woman, and I have a Chinese American woman, right? And I am Barbadian, Canadian. And so we are going to talk about social justice and how we color it, how it colors us during that. I think it's about what, an hour and a
It's an
half.
hour and about an hour and 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I am envisioning that room being power packed, because there are powerful women that are having this conversation about women color. Well, it's a play on words, but women coloring social justice. It's an important topic, and now is the time. Now is the time to have that conversation. And what I want to tell our viewing audience is that it is just that. It's a conversation. It could be, depending on what Dr. Harris, Dr. Heather Harris has for us, lined up in the conversation where you can join in the chat. But we want to make sure that all of our women are engaged and informed. And that's what the Women's Leadership Forum is about: engaging, informing you so that you can make informed choices about yourself. Yes, we have a good time. Yes, we have, we are having dialogue and conversation. But most of all, we want you to walk away more knowledgeable about your surroundings and yourself. This is not the only topic that is being covered. There are many other topics that you have to choose from. And if you know what I know, you want to get registered now, okay, so that you can take part in this conversation. If you're a woman that's out there and you want to make a change in your life, in your neighborhood, even in your workspace, you can find, even in the communications workshop, it might be how you are communicating on your job that does not allow you to rise, to have more colleagues and friends. It might be that your dialogue is not the dialogue that is of that culture, but you can find some of that out about yourself, your colleagues, and your culture at the Women's Forum if you ask the questions. But you have to be in the space to be able to ask the questions. After it's all done and over with, we're all going to go home and you won't have that opportunity. And we're providing that for you. Dr. Harris is going to be present, okay? She's going to be present. And I'm coming full circle. She's going to bring her head, her heart, and her gut. All of that is going to be present for you. And all we ask is that you register for the event. We're still at home, and we're trying to provide you with the best experience that we can. And we're going to say you're going to have the best experience at the Women's Leadership Forum. It is built on the premise that we are going to be engaging. And all the technology that we could afford is going to be at your fingertips. So you will be able to click away and be engaged, click away, meet somebody new because we have networking opportunities, click away and learn more about yourself, your colleagues, your community, and friends. Click away and learn from somebody who you have never learned from before. And so we're inviting you to come to the table. Hopefully we won't be in a fog then. We might still be wearing our mask at that time because uh, it's almost a little over 18 days away. Because believe it or not, March the 1st is on Monday. And what we ask is just to be present, be present. And I don't know if you have any parting words, Heather. If you have any parting words,
I do. I,
please lend that to our audience.
what I would say is that when you're talking about your mind, your heart, your gut, and the connections that they make in terms of guiding us to the next best place for us, when it comes to this conference, I know some of you are probably saying in your mind that it's too late, can't make these changes,
Mm,
it's not going to happen for me. But I would encourage you to listen to your divine center, listen to the voice of your heart, listen to your gut, listen to your spidey sense, because your spidey sense is saying, yes, there's more for me and I can achieve this. And the Forward Women's Leadership Conference will have people there to guide you, lead you, stand beside you as you take those next steps forward. We're
mm,
all here simply evolving. And this
yeah.
is a tool at your fingertips right now. You've got a couple of weeks left. Well, 4 seats, right? As you were saying,
Four
four,
VIP
four,
seats.
okay, 4 VIP seats, but
Yeah,
there's plenty of space for
yeah.
all of the women out there who are saying, this is the time for me to make the next step. In the cloud, as Colette said, in the cloud of COVID, we can create our own sunshine. Come to the
Ooh,
conference, hang with the women, hang with the sisterhood,
yeah,
share your perspective of sisterhood
yeah.
because we're learning from one another. It's not this one way conversation, we're learning from one another. So get that ticket, take your seat, and start taking those steps to the edge of the next level.
All right. So it sounds like we all going to try to go higher,
Higher.
higher, and we're going to we're going to lift that cloud, and we're all going to do it together. And so once again, I invite you to come to the forum. Here's how you find it. You go to the URL forward WLF.org, or use the hashtag forward WLF. You know, today we talked a lot about the heart. February is Heart Month. And, you know, there's no way better, if that made sense, to be fulfilled, right? Than finding someone who will walk beside you, or even alongside you know, who will see that you not only, I guess what I want to say is be your cheerleader. A lot of us need encouragement during these times. And what better way to find it than at the Women's Leadership Forum? Another woman can encourage you and help you along the way. And as that song goes, if I can find somebody to help me along the way, then life is worth living. You know, this is the place to be. This is the place to be. And I know that I'm the walking billboard, but I'm going to do it until I die. Join us, be with us. We want to see you there. We are going to wish you a great weekend. Even though it's a rainy weekend, the sunshine is in your heart and in your head and in your gut. You know, you may, you know, the Clock Sisters, you are the sunshine. You are the sunshine. So let's continue to radiate those rays of light on one another. I want you all to have a great weekend. And Heather, thank you once again for
Thank
being my
you.
guest. And you can see Heather. We're hoping to see Heather every fourth Friday right here at the Women's Leadership Forum live. If you all have any comments or want to chat with us, we welcome that. You all have been pretty silent, but we see you actually peering in through the views, and we look forward to your questions, because it's through your questions that we are able to have the important dialogues that make us stronger. So with that, I'm going to sign off by waving in the no. Yeah, I did it right that time. I can't do it again. I'm challenged in that area, so I got to work on that. But want you to be safe, continue to mask up, wash your hands, and be socially distant. I appreciate my audience. I appreciate Heather for being here, and I wish
Thank
you
you.
a wonderful weekend. See you next time.
You too. Bye bye.